Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Noah Lay, and we're back at it again on episode 7 of Lay of the Land. I know it's been a couple weeks since I've been on here, but really excited to get back. There was a little bit of a delay. Was supposed to get on here with a longtime friend Carlos, but he bailed last minute. Psych, he's going to be on next week. We're going to be talking about Big Pharma because he does work in the healthcare industry. I think that'll be an exciting conversation, so looking forward to that. Hope Carlos is watching this one and he gets a kick out of that. But yeah, back at it again this week. Wanted to talk through several ideas and several things, but my main concern was what happened in the primary 2 weeks ago with Thomas Massie versus the Tel Aviv, Israel-endorsed Ed Galrine. I don't know anything about this guy. I know Ed really wanted to bring back the draft. That was one of his big campaign promises, which... Don't know about you, but I am not going to war for a foreign nation, and I'm not going to war for a presidency that doesn't care about you like they said they used to. No longer America first, people, and that is clear to see. Thomas Massie was America first, and it really is frustrating to see all of the negative mudslinging ads that were put out against him. You know, they were saying he was voting with Democrats. In reality, he was voting with Republicans 90% of the time, and the only reason why he wasn't voting with Republicans is they were either defending the Epstein class or they were giant bills with secret things hidden back into them. And, you know, he also voted against AI surveillance and surveillance state ideologies. And a lot of Republicans are starting to vote for those things because the Republican class is starting to shift, which I do not understand, but it's now there was a populist movement with Trump, and now it's going back to, you know, we're lining the pockets of the billionaires, continuously lining their pockets. And I don't know, Trump may have been like this the whole time, but I really don't think he was. I think he was compromised. You know, I miss the populist Trump, the never wars, no new wars Trump. That's what we miss as America and as the Republican Party. But that's a side note. I do think, though, that the Republican Party has split between, you know, America first and Israel first. And I hate to say that, but all this primary race with Thomas Massie was a bigger deal than people think. And I know a lot of people do understand, you know, how crazy this is. It's a small district in Kentucky. There was spent over $50 million in the Republican primary in a small district in Kentucky. That's what shows you should have voted for Thomas Massie. And I don't know if you know, Ed Galrine was legitimate. Those votes were legitimate. I heard over 10,000 of them were mail-in ballots at the last minute. I don't have any evidence to back that, but I've seen several reports on that through various websites that a lot of those votes for Ed Galrine was through mail. So I wanted to just take a deep dive into Thomas Massie and kind of just break down what happened through, you know, all the different PACs, giving him money, Turning Point not endorsing him, even though Charlie Kirk quoted saying Thomas Massie is the, you know, most America first congressman in the nation. You know, it's his favorite congressman, and you know, he said that while he had Thomas Massie on the Charlie Kirk show, and they came out and they said they weren't going to endorse him. We're not going to do it. You know, it's apparent that organization has completely shifted since Erica Kirk has taken over, and I don't know. Maybe this was part of their plan the whole time. I don't know. Just something to think about when it comes to Turning Point, but. Yeah, Turning Point didn't endorse Massie. Lots of America firsters, really never Trumpers, came out and was saying, "Oh, Massie, he's a Democrat." They were able to, so throughout that $30 million we were talking about earlier that was spent against him and that was spent for Ed Galrine, who even knows how to say his name? Who is the guy? I don't know. We don't know who he is. It's just a warm body, I'm pretty sure. But you know, they actually released an AI advertisement campaign that went across broadcast networks showing Massie checking into a hotel with Ilhan and some other Democrats, you know, acting like he was going to, Ilhan and AOC, acting like he was going to sleep with them. That's what it was inferring. And, you know, it said in small letters, you know, this was AI generated, but boomers, they can't tell the difference between AI and reality. I know several people that are up in age, and they're always reposting AI videos, posting AI videos throughout Facebook, because they really can't tell a difference. And I mean, you really can't blame them. They didn't grow up with the technology that my generation has grown up with. So they see an advertisement of, Trump saying, Massey's the worst congressman to date. He's an America last. He's a Democrat. And then they also see an AI advertisement of Massey checking into a hotel with Ilhan and AOC and going to sleep with them. I mean, can you really blame them not for voting for him? They don't know. They're low information voters. They don't do their own research. They see advertisements on the internet and on Facebook and on broadcast television, and that's what does it for them. So that's what really I think killed the Massie campaign, is just how much money, which is obvious. It's all the money that was poured into it, and then all the false narratives that was pushed against him. And like I said, the 90% of the time he was voting with Republicans. There was a 10%, and that 10% involved huge bills like the Big Beautiful Bill that included a lot of things, not just good. It also included some bad topics and bad bills within there. And then also, he was going to push for that Epstein release, and that's what he promised, and that's what the Trump administration had promised us. And he just adhered to those campaign promises. So he held them to what they were he held them to their word, and they didn't keep to their word, and that pissed Trump off, and that pissed the whole Trump administration off. So, Massie partnered with Ro Khanna. I thought it was great. I love seeing bipartisan. I love seeing people working across the aisle to get something done that is America first. So I was proud to see Massie and Ro Khanna working together to get that Epstein Transparency Act pushed through. And without the American people backing it the way they did, I don't think it would have ever been pushed through. I was really proud to see what we were able to do as a nation. Because you look through anyone comments, release the Epstein files, release the Epstein, any Trump administrator, if they posted release the Epstein files, there was a nationwide push, and I was really proud of America for doing that. Obviously there's been nothing to come of it, and they've actually taken back some of those files, and then they've redacted more, and then there's still over 1 million documents they haven't released. And under the Epstein File Transparency Act, they legally have to release them because it's about transparency. It's in the name, and it is a law. And people say, "Oh, Massie was on Trump. He was also on Biden for the push. There was a push for Biden to release him, and Trump said that Biden should be releasing him, and that when he gets in, it's going to be released like that, released as soon as he gets in. That's what he was going to do." And then it was a huge cover up as soon as he got in. And loved to see those work together, and that brings me to another topic. I love Marjorie Taylor Greene. I was sad to see her resign. I really think she just didn't want to go through what Massie went through. She was a Trumper from the beginning. She was America first all the way. When people with January 6th, when people were trying to impeach Trump, all those Republicans, all those rhinos calling out Trump, Marjorie was one of the only ones really backing him when the whole establishment was trying to get him arrested, was trying to impeach him, was trying to get him kicked out of the country. Marjorie was the only one backing him. Marjorie and Massie's always backed Trump. So it's sad to see the way that things worked out for both of them, but I do think there's hope in it. And you asked me, why do you think there's hope in these losses? And I think there's hope because me personally, I was really sad to see Massie lose. I'm not going to lie. I thought as American people we were going to pull through and show AIPAC, the American-Israeli PAC. I thought we were going to show them that, we still own this state, or we still own this country, and we still control this country. It's we're not going to let a foreign nation come in and buy a seat, buy a congressional seat. And they did win the battle, but they didn't win the war. Okay, this awoke a lot of people. This woke a lot of people up because everyone 50 and under, they were for Massie. They're America first. We know what's really going on as young people, and I have hope for America's future. I think that we're going to really get some leadership in there that kicks all all these Israel firsters out. And it's not about the Jews, it's not about that religion at all. It's about the government of Israel, and Bibi Netanyahu. Those are the ones that are pushing the buttons, and they're the ones that have made Trump their little puppet. And it's sad to see, because I really do think, Trump's first term, I thought he was legitimate. And I thought he was America first. And the way the establishment was trying to take him down in this last campaign run, he had me convinced. I'm not going to lie. He had me convinced. But yeah, it was really sad when MTG resigned, from Congress. And, she actually claimed that, Trump had called her and said, you're going to get my friends in trouble, Marjorie. And, she stood her ground, where she was like, we're going to get these things released. We're going to do what's right. We started this populist movement, this Republican populist movement, and we're going to continue to finish it out, because we weren't voted in to back Trump. We were voted in to back the ideals of the American people and to back our word and do what we said we were going to do. And so that's why I have a lot of respect for those two. And I don't know, Massie did file for 2028 just in case, and I'm hoping it's a presidential run. Will he win? Maybe not, but I mean, I would vote for him. I think a lot of people 50 and younger would vote for him. He's a true populist, really conservative values. He ranks in the top percentile in all the liberty scores, the highest out of any congressman. Trump wouldn't back Massie, but he's backing Lindsey Graham, who has a liberty score of like 4%. I just don't understand it. Well, I do understand it. I know it's Israeli money, okay? Foreign donors of all kinds, and then the military-industrial complex and Big Pharma. It's all of them. It's all of them wrapped in one, and that's what this really shows us. But, like I said, the American people are waking up. We want more Massies, more MTGs, more Ron Pauls, more Rand Pauls. That's what we want. I know the boomers, they don't understand. They think, there's this Trump mania that I've talked about before, but they think that Trump is, the end all be all. Oh my gosh, he's the best person ever, best president ever. They just think anything he touches, they think is gold. And, he's even said in some recent interviews that, he didn't have to do this for us. He's doing it for America. He's doing it for these other foreign nations, this war with Iran. And that brings me to the next topic, another big split within the America First agenda, and why, Massie and MTG were kicked out of office is because, they opposed the war. They were never, there were no new wars, because that's what America First means. That's what America only. Okay. That's what that means. No new wars, no killing of innocents, no killing children. That's not what we're about. We are a Christian nation, and we were founded on Christian values, okay? That's what the American people want. I don't care what Trump's polling is in Israel. He said his polling was 99%. He might run for prime minister. Come on, people. It's obvious that Massie was the true America Firster, and so was Marjorie Taylor Greene, and it's a shame they're not in office anymore. But that is okay. I'm getting fired up now, all right? Because I see it now. Massie, presidential candidate 2028. Taking down the neocons. Taking Tel Aviv Ted down. Okay? Just imagine it, okay? Taking down J.D. Thiel. J.D. Vance, that's his name, J.D. Vance. Taking down little frat boy Marco, okay, that wants to censor everyone, okay? He's in there backed by big AI development and big AI technology like Palantir. Same with J.D. Vance. Peter Thiel funded his whole entire political career, the whole entire thing. So we're going to see Massie take down those people because they are not America First. They never have been. It's all been a disguise. It's been a big Trojan horse for little Marco and little JD. They got in their Trojan horse with their Israeli flags tied like some sort of sick Superman bizarro world cape onto them. And then they come in. They're like, yes, come into the city. We appreciate your America First gift. We appreciate it. Because Trump's giving us the America First gift, the America First policies, the no new wars, the promises of the no new wars, the promises of the Epstein release Epstein files released, the promise of all the JFK files released, the promises of so many, the promises of building a wall. And then, the Trojan horse then enters into the America First city. And then, boom, little Marco and little JD pop out with their Israeli capes on, running around saying, there's Iranians outside with box cutters. And they have a nuclear weapon. And they're going to bomb you and they're going to kill you. That's what they did. They got out of their Trojan horse. They got out of their Trojan horse with their little Israeli capes on, ran around and said there are Iranians outside with box cutters, and they're developing a nuclear weapon. So we need to give the neighboring city a gazillion dollars to neutralize this threat. Okay, so we don't want little Marco and little Ruby, or little Marco and little JD. We don't want that for America. The American people don't want that. We want America first, like Massie. All right. Sorry for that little tangent there, but that was good. Yeah. So the America First policy: no new wars. What do we do? We're in a war with Iran. Is there going to be a peace deal? Probably not. Let's be honest here. There's not going to be we're going to be in this war for like 20 years. So, but yeah, all that to say, Massie's the America First that we need as a country moving forward. We need that no new wars. We need the Epstein transparency. That is big on my list, because I thought as a country, when we found out that everyone's a pedophile and they're freaking killing kids and eating them and just raping little girls, I thought we were going to revolt against the Epstein class, but they haven't received any sort of repercussions for their actions at all. There's been no arrests. There's been a couple soft interviews where they get to eat a donut while they're being asked some softball questions, but I would hardly call that a hearing. You know what I mean? There's been no revolts. It's sad to see. And in other news, speaking of the Epstein class, there's a completely different set of rules, and I just think we're tired of it as American citizens, and I'm tired of them doing it deliberately in our faces. We're like, AIPAC literally tweeted out, we're always gonna back, is pro-Israel, pro-Zionist, people and candidates. We're always going to back them. We're always going to support them. Kind of just a FU to the people that are America First and that are against, this Israel First agenda. They literally tweeted it right after Massie lost, and just threw it out there because they don't care anymore. These people don't care. They want to do these things in front of your face and say, "Ha, F you, we control you." There's two different. There's a class society here. All right, it's the billionaires and then it's everybody else. These billionaires, they control everything. They control foreign ties. They control what's in your food. They control what's in your water. They control what you watch on the television. They control what you watch on social media. Everything they do, everything we do, they want to control. They control what's in the clothes you wear. They control what's in the air because of all the toxins and pollutions they put within the air through all their corporations and through all their evil and wrongdoings. Okay? They want to inject blood from young people into their veins so they can live as long as possible. These people are freaks. Okay? They're evil. All right? They would wear someone else's face as a mask. Seriously, this is all confirmed. Okay? The elites are evil people. And BB's in there. Trump's probably in there. Let's be legitimate here. Okay? And all his buddies are in there. Soros is in there. There's a ton to name. Okay? And we need a revolt, and we need someone in there in 2028 that's going to be like Massie, that's going to be America First and America only, okay? And Christ-centered. He's a Christian guy, lives on a self-sufficient farm, married, family man. I don't know. I am sad that he's no longer in Congress. But, like I said, this is a new start, okay? We, in 2028 will be ours. We're going to overcome this. We're going to beat out people like Lindsey Graham this year. We're going to get some political outsiders. We're going to defeat the political ruling class. We're going to defeat the billionaires together, and we're going to end the New World Order by getting an America First candidate in there like Thomas Massie. Thomas Massie is the way because we are going to follow Christ all together with Thomas, and we're going to ultimately end the New World Order. Please like and subscribe. Leave some comments down below. Let me know what you think about Thomas Massie. Did he lose because, people didn't like him? Or did he lose because of all the money donated and Trump's backing? Let me know below. We will be back next week and be talking about Big Pharma. So I look forward to it, and good night.